Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up?
What's up, guys? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. Guys, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is part 2 of a 2-part podcast based upon what to do when you don't know what to do. So we're going to skip the small talk. We're going to get right into it. If you haven't listened to the first part of this 2-part podcast, you need to go back and listen to that. Otherwise, this is going to make no sense. I'm here with my co-host, Vaughn Kohler. What's up, dude?
What's up? I'm ready to get at it.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be an extremely important message for you guys who are in this situation. We get a ton of questions a week, and a lot of them are the same. And I would say the most popular one is, man, hey, I want to be successful, but I don't know where I should start or what I should do. I mean, do you agree? That's
absolutely
probably the most popular one.
We get that question all the time.
Yeah, I mean, guys, when you're wanting success, you have to realize that it's a lot of people, let me put it this way. A lot of people are in love with the idea of success. The house, the car, the bank account, the freedom, the power, the popularity, blah, 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 blah. Those are byproducts of the work, okay? So when you're falling in love with the prize or with the prizes, the rewards, whatever you want to call them, of the work, the side effects, the outcomes of yourself, you have to realize that that's something that comes with solving problems. It comes with finding solutions. It comes with innovating. It comes with, offering value. It's not success that you need to be focusing on. It's the process of solving problems and the other things that I just mentioned. So many of you guys get excited when you see a nice car and get excited when you see a big house. And I understand that because I do too. But you have to understand and separate and realize that those rewards are the product of you being good at the process. All right. So many people miss that point. So I wanted to hit that before we get right back into where we were. Last time we left off was start changing the way you think. And we talked a little bit about the law of attraction. We got into some books. You're going to have to go back and listen because I'm not going to hit it back. The next point that we want to talk about is figuring out your core values. Okay. This is a huge one because our values as humans are going to always drive what we end up wanting to do in our lives, okay? It's also huge because knowing our core values will help us make decisions about which direction to go in life at any given certain point. And if you know your core values really well, you may be presented with a great opportunity, but know that it's not a great opportunity for you. For example, a lot of you guys, you chase money. You see things that are financially rewarding and you say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Even though you might hate the process, okay? The process might be like the worst possible thing for you, but you're like, I'm going to do it because it pays well. Eventually, guys, that's going to wear you out. It's going to beat you up. It's going to punch you in the face a million times, and you're not going to be able to do it with that mindset. I'm sorry. I don't know I know a lot of millionaires, and I know a few billionaires. Not one of them does something that they don't like. Not one of them does something that is not aligned with the core values of who they are as a person. I think a lot of us don't have a vision for our lives because we don't have our values figured out. Guys, my first 10 years in business, I had no idea what the fuck core values even were. I really didn't. I'll bet more than half of you right now don't know what they are, okay? And defining them is an extremely crucial point of progressing, because putting in the work to decide what you are, what you're about, what you're willing to do, and what you believe in is ultimately going to define and direct your actions towards success.
Right. So this is one of those moments where straddling that line between being a success podcast and being a business podcast might create some confusion. So when you tell people to determine your core values, are you saying for you as a person, what guides you, what are the points on your moral compass, or are you talking more about your business?
I think they're the same. I think that those two things are the same, because if your core values don't align with the core values you set up for your business or the career path that you're going to choose, you're never going to be able to do it with the full heart, with all your heart, all your momentum, all your power, all your energy, which is what it takes to be successful. Basically, if you don't fucking believe in it with everything you have, you're not going to get to that point where those rewards that you are, dreaming about right now are going to materialize. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes total sense. So would another way of saying this...
Like, you can't have core values of, like, say, hey, I'm an honest guy. Hey, I'm a man of integrity. I go the extra mile, and then go out and sell a bullshit get-rich-quick scheme to people who are... hungry for that message, right? Mm-hmm. My core values are those things and a lot of other things, which is why I don't go out there and, dude, you know how easy it'd be for me to fucking take pictures of my cars? Dude, I got 11 exotic cars right now. I could fucking do a video, fucking go through my garage and be like, yeah, guys, all it takes is for you to buy my program. And you know what? You'll be successful too. You'll be on the road, blah, blah, blah. And then I could go pay somebody to tell a bullshit story of, I followed Andy's principles and now I'm a millionaire.
Right.
Dude, I'd probably make fucking $500,000 a month selling the program.
Easily.
But I don't do that because it's not aligned with my core values of doing the right things. Right?
Yeah. And you also have a lot of clarity in the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. So a question that I have, would another way of saying this would be, you can't know what to do if you do not know who you are and what you stand for. Is that another way of putting it?
I think that's a great place to start. For me personally, I went through 9 years of business before I ever even understood what core values were. During that time, I made no money. The most money I made during that first 9 years was $695 a month. Once I identified my core values and understood that I was there to serve people, I was there to do the right thing, I was there for the long haul. And since I'm here for the long haul, I understand that doing the right thing now is what ultimately pays later. The rest is history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 9 years in, I made $695 a month.
Right. That's kind of crazy. Nobody would have gotten to that. Very few people would have gotten to that point. Yeah.
I was trying to make money. I wasn't trying to serve people. Once I switched in my mind the mentality of trying to produce money or make money or be a fucking baller, into I'm trying to help people solve a problem. I'm trying to solve their problem. I'm trying to make them have such a great experience that they tell everybody, dude, that's when shit started happening.
Right. Okay, so in practical terms, share with me or share with everybody a couple of the key core values that drive you and your company, and then just walk through, how did you even arrive at those?
Well, it's basic things, okay? Like, be disciplined, right? You know what you have to do on a day-to-day basis, and you have to be disciplined to do those things with 100% enthusiasm, which is another core value, be enthusiastic, even when you don't feel like doing it. Okay, it's real easy to come to work when you feel good and kick ass. It's a totally different thing to come to work and kick ass when you feel like shit, or you're tired of talking to people, or you're irritated with people, or your girlfriend's mad at you, or your wife's mad at you, or something bad has happened in your family. Those are the days that make the difference, right? Because anybody could do good when they feel like doing good. Right. So, like, be disciplined, be enthusiastic about it, even when you don't feel like it. Take initiative. Don't wait around for somebody to give you permission to do things. If you see something that needs to be done, there's value in that. If you're an employee of a company and nobody told you to go sweep the warehouse floor and make it spot perfect, but you do it on your own without being told, you have to realize that there's value in that, and that value will eventually be recognized. And that can go for any task that needs to happen. Cleaning the bath. Little things make a big difference in dude, I'm the CEO of our company, all right? Little things make the biggest difference, and I'm giving you my perspective. When I see somebody who takes care of the little details that everybody else passes on, dude, that impresses me. It's not like the guy who necessarily goes out, and this is valuable too, goes out and finds a way to make the company money. It doesn't have to be these big things. What impresses me is the person who takes the initiative to do the little things, because I know if they do the fucking little things perfect, guess what? They're going to do the big things perfect. So taking initiative, going the extra mile will be something that goes along with that. Making sure that every single time you have an opportunity to talk to a customer, you're not only just serving them with with what they expect. You're doing something every single time to go above and beyond that, and figuring out, these are all, dude, we have 12 core values that we live by, and that's a whole different podcast, but I'm just throwing out some examples, right? Stay humble, all right? You know why you have to be humble? Because the minute you're not humble, the minute you think you're good, the minute you think you're better than somebody else, you lose the ability to learn, which is another core value. Always be learning. All these things tie together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so like we could do a whole podcast on this, but
and we will.
Yeah, we definitely will. But the point is that they all tie together and they all form a spider web, so to speak, or an interlocking, solid wall or platform to launch your values of your business and of your personal character, right? And if you want your company to be effective, and if you want to be effective, you've got to live by those. You've got to not only just like a lot of people have core values up on their wall, like in a high school locker room, everybody had a motivational board, right? That nobody ever fucking paid attention to. That's not core values. Core values are defining them, talking about them, communicating in those terms. For example, if I correct an employee who just did the minimum with a customer and I say, hey, bro, you didn't go the extra mile on that at all. You didn't make an effort to. You know what I mean? That's how you correct your employees. That's how you correct yourself. You have to speak in those terms. And so this is a whole different lesson. But the point is if you don't know what the fuck you stand for, you stand for nothing. And that's it.
So be Captain Obvious for a little bit here and flesh it out. I mean, just spell it out for people who are having a difficulty. So some guy comes to you and says, okay, Andy, I can say with a clear conscience, I have an incredible work ethic. All right. I literally don't know what to do with my life. So tell me how having these core values is going to give me the next step.
Because you're going to be able to identify things that will potentially be the wrong path. Okay? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. So you're going to be able to... A lot of guys go down a million paths because they don't know which way to go. Well, what if you have a filter that's going to help you delineate and decide and filter out which ones are going to be the wrong ones?
Gotcha.
This is what that serves.
Process of elimination.
Exactly. So let's say you have 100 paths and 70 of them are wrong. And you define who you are, what you stand for, and you make a decision based around those values. You're going to be able to identify the 7. So now you only got 30 to look at. You get what I mean?
Absolutely. Right. I mean, even that was even a little bit unclear in my mind, but I'm glad I asked that. So that makes a lot of sense. So you ready to go to the next one?
Yeah. What is it?
All right. Do something to better yourself every day, both practically and I know the word morally is kind of got some baggage as a word, but I'm talking about developing your skills and developing your character.
Right.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, greatness and success, it doesn't start with what you do. It starts with who you are. Simple things, man, like helping somebody every day. You helping someone could be the catalyst for figuring out what it is you're supposed to do. Holding the door open for a lady that's got her hands full, putting the shopping carts away at the grocery store, even though you're not the one that left them out. You know what I mean? Everybody today is in this, it's not my fucking fault. Well, you know what? Once you recognize the problem is there, and this goes back to living by your core values, right? Once you recognize the problem is there and you didn't do anything about it, whose fucking fault is it? It's yours.
It's yours, yeah.
So, and that's accepting responsibility, which is another core value. But the point is that, doing things that feel good with no reward or no expectation of reward are good for you. They're good for your character. They're good for your karma, which I'm a huge believer in.
Right.
And they're good for the development of. I mean, if you want to break it down to a pure business sense, it makes you fucking look good to other people. Other people recognize it, right? So
Absolutely.
There's all these things there's nothing bad that could come of that.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you could talk about the good reasons for your heart. You can also talk about the reasons that would be considered more selfish. Like I just said, everybody sees you do it, so they think you're good. What fucking difference does it make? You're doing it. It's good shit.
Right.
Right.
You're right. I wish I had the specifics of this story because I know that this has happened before, and I know that I've talked to wealthy people, very successful people who for whom this has happened. But I know I've had people tell me, like, in the back of my mind, wish I could remember his name, but there was a businessman who told me that he was coming out of a grocery store one time, and he saw exactly what you're talking about. He saw some kid go out of his way to return the grocery cart, which clearly wasn't even his cart, and he was like, I'm gonna go talk to that kid.
Yeah,
he was impressed that the kid.
Dude, you never know.
And he ended up hiring him.
Yes,
and I know that you've had similar situations where and that's another reason. Like you said, it's the law of reciprocity. Somebody somebody experiences you doing something positive, and there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Right, and it may not become and people will argue this because they're stuck in that tit for tat mentality, right? I did this, so I deserve this. Dude, just eliminate the word deserve from your fucking vocabulary. You don't deserve a fucking goddamn thing. All right? You know what you deserve? Nothing.
Right.
Just the word deserve stops so many good things from happening because they won't do things because they don't think there's a result. They don't think there's a return. They don't think there's a blah, whatever. And people, they become jaded and bitter to doing shit that they really believe in their heart because it's like, well, what the fuck am I going to get out of it? Well, that's your whole problem. The whole problem is that everything is about you. Right. Everything is about what are you going to get. And the minute you could fucking flush that thought process down the toilet and realize that it's not about you, it's about the other person, that's when your life changes.
Right. I think what people don't get, and you've said this again and again, which is why the word deserve is not even relevant, is that there's a law in place. It's a law of the universe. It's like jumping off of a diving board and saying, "Well, I deserve to fall into the pool." No, if you jump, you're gonna fall.
Exactly.
So do the right thing. It's gonna come back.
Good shit's gonna happen. Yeah. And I can tell you, every successful person I know personally believes in that, and they practice it. That's not a fucking accident, man.
Right.
But you know what the problem is average Joe Blow who doesn't know any fucking millionaires or any billionaires, they don't see that.
Right.
They see a bunch of other average Joe Blows at home sitting in their driveway cracking a fucking bush talking about how the world fucked them.
Right.
So that's what they believe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dude,
Right.
I've seen both. I didn't grow up in a fucking wealthy family. I grew up in a fucking regular blue-collar entrepreneurial family, all right? We weren't wealthy. We weren't poor. My dad worked his fucking balls off to get where he was, and I saw it. And they were all blue. It was electrical contracting. It's all fucking blue-collar guys. I've heard what they think. You know what they think? Dude, fuck the man. The man fucked me. Fucking world fucked me. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. But it has nothing to do with your thought process, right?
Right.
It's just, dude, you have to expose yourself. We talked about this when Nehemiah was on, Nehemiah Davis. You have to practically and purposely expose yourself to different kinds of people. And dude, I'm telling you, successful people on any level do not think in a negative way like that.
Right.
They think that everything good they do comes back to them, and they put other people first.
Right.
They just do. Now, are there exceptions to that? Sure. Let's go to Wall Street and see the Wall Street guy who makes fucking $4 million a day, short in stock when everybody else is losing their ass and loves it. Yes, there is those people, but that's the picture that media tries to paint on all successful people, and all successful people aren't like that.
Right.
Most successful people, and I say successful, financially more successful than, I would say, 98% of the rest of the population. Not the 1% of the 1% billionaire people. I'm talking about people like me. You know what I mean? People like the dude who owns, 5 or 6 franchises of McDonald's or something or whatever. Those people didn't get there by being negative or by doing bad things, dude. You just can't do it.
Right.
You got to think about it like you have to have a team behind you. How the fuck are you going to have a team behind you if you're negative and fuck people and treat people like shit all the time? You can't build a team.
Right.
So we've talked about where that comes from, but the point of the matter is that.
Can I share an example of something?
Yeah.
So I think of the guy who early on in his life, fell in love with some girl and he got totally screwed over by her. And so as a result, from that point on, he had this really negative view toward women and he had this negative way of responding to them. And so what happened was it was a self-fulfilled prophecy. And he ended up having all of these really bad experiences. And his conclusion are, well, women suck. No, what happened was you got screwed over once. It changed you. It changed the way that you related to people. And so it literally just replicated itself again and again.
100%.
And so for the people that say, oh, well, what about the people that screw you over? Well, right. There are going to be those people that screw you over, but if you allow that to change you, then that's going to become the self-fulfilling prophecy that you're going to continue to perpetuate that again and again and again. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way I see it.
That's what most people do.
For the
their whole
Astricals,
lives.
right, exactly. So for the Astricals...
They got fired by they got yelled at by some boss and fired somewhere along the line of like, fucking bosses suck.
Right.
Work sucks.
Right.
Well... And you wonder why you go to work every day hating your life, hating your job, not making any fucking money.
Right.
It's not, it couldn't be you.
Right.
No, there's no way, possibility it could be you. You just sit on your ass every night from 4 o'clock until fucking 11 drinking beer. Couldn't be your fault. Could also be your fault that you're fat as fuck and that you're out of shape either, right?
Right.
And let's talk about the second part of that. Learn something new every day. You know, that same guy could be reading a book. He could be reading, dude, I read 10 pages of a book no matter what every single day. And I have for 16 years. All right. When was the last time, you know, and I've ripped this stat off before on the podcast, you know, most people graduate high school and never read another book again.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Their whole lives.
Right.
That couldn't be the reason why you never made any fucking money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that dude, most people just, they don't do shit. And then they fucking blame every other thing possible on earth as to why they're not fucking, you know, driving a fucking Ferrari or whatever.
Right.
Whatever it is they wanted to do when they were young before they got punched in the face. The truth of it is, most people are fucking pussies. That's it. Okay? Most people are too pussy to stand up and fucking do the work. And instead, it's just easier to fucking blame everybody else. And, you know, which is why, you know, I really can't stand talking to people about anything because all I hear is complaining 99% of the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I love that you use the word something. Learn something new every day. Because again, I think people get, paralysis by analysis. They're like, well, what should I learn,
Just
Andy?
fucking learn
Just
anything.
learn something.
Yeah.
Exercise the capability of getting better at
Yes.
something and learning and
Dude,
adding to your intellectual knowledge.
Learning doesn't have to be reading either. I mean,
Right.
I purposely, dude, like I said, there's passive learning, there's active learning. Passive learning is what you would observe from other people. Like you might be in a situation where you get great service at a restaurant and then you're like, fuck, dude, that's a good idea. I might be able to pull that and do that in my profession. So you didn't mean to learn something, but you learned something.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
And then
yeah.
there's active learning, which means like I'm dedicating this time to fucking learning, which means I'm going to read 10 pages of this book every single day this month or whatever your goal is. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't read 10 fucking pages in a day.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right. And you start evaluating your time. When you set those kinds of goals, you start evaluating your time and realize, you know what, I can blow through 5 or 10 minutes in my life doing completely worthless things so easily that I might as well set these goals and use this time profitably.
Right.
Okay, next point. Recast the main role players of your life. You can explain to people what you mean by that.
Well, you know, you got to think of your life as a movie. You know, who's playing the main roles? Who's your supporting cast? Are they toxic? Do you need to get rid of them? Are they nagging you? Are they bringing you down? Or are they quality? Do you need to get closer to them? Because here's the truth. You're either going to have, you have 100, and this is an analogy, you have 100 units of energy a day. Okay. And you can either use that energy, like you have to think of it like gasoline in your car. You've only got 10 gallons, okay? You don't have 11, you don't have 12, you have 10 every day. Do you want to spend that 10 gallons on dealing with people who are negative, who are going to drain that energy out of your body for no reason, who are going to complain, nag, make your life harder? Or do you want to spend your energy with people who are going to contribute to the energy by being positive, by being encouraging, by believing in you, by helping you, by pushing you harder? And sometimes, by the way, pushing you doesn't mean being nice. It means
Right.
telling you the fucking truth, which is what we're about here.
Right.
Okay? So you have to understand that your network, it has everything to do with your success. Now everybody says, oh, your network is your net worth. Get the fuck out of here with this stupid shit. Okay? Here's the truth. If you don't spend your time around people that make you better, you're spending your time around people who are making you worse. There is no in between. Okay. And if there is a middle of the road person, you don't have time for that. You have to put yourself in a position in everything that you do, everything that you touch, everything that you consume, everything that you read, everything you learn, everybody you spend your time with to be successful. Because being successful is not fucking easy. It takes a lot more than what you guys understand. And if you don't put every single person in your life in a role on purpose, you're shortchanging yourself. You don't have an obligation to your cousins. You don't have an obligation to your fucking aunts. You don't have an obligation to your best friend from kindergarten. No, if those people suck your energy, fuck them. Get them out of your life. Because here's the truth. Those people are going to be the same people who are going to nag. And when you make it, they're going to say, oh, I'm so proud of you. Okay? They're fucking flip-floppers. They're not even really... They're really nothing. And so many people get consumed with like, well, that's my this, or that's my that, or that's my brother, or that's my mom. What am I supposed to do? It's my mom. Cut her the fuck out. Period. You know, is that a hard reality to fucking say? Yeah, it is. But what do you want? Do you want to be fucking broke and miserable, struggle your whole life? Or do you want to fucking build your shit? Because, dude, at the end of the day, you know what your family is? Your family is you, your significant other, and the future kids that you're going to have, not the people who had you. And people are going to get mad that I say that. I have a great relationship with my parents. You know why? Because they don't suck my fucking energy. But I can tell you right now, if they were negative as fuck, I would cut them out.
Right.
And that's the truth.
Right. And people who really understand that you get to a point where you don't have a choice.
You don't.
You just don't. You don't have a choice. So here's my question. I mean, there are all sorts of websites devoted to helping people find, the one, Match.com, eHarmony, that sort of thing. And people don't think anything about devoting some time finding a romantic interest. What would be your practical solution or your practical tips for people looking for somebody who's going to build them up?
Find people that are already doing what you want to do.
Okay.
And fucking surround yourself with those people. And a lot of times, guess what? You're not going to be able to get in close with those people because they're already like 5 steps above you. I had guys back in 2004 or 5 that I looked up to who were mentors of mine from a distance. I looked up to them. I watched them. I met with them. Okay. And the truth of the matter is now I'm their mentor. I've passed those guys. Okay. And those guys wouldn't even take a fucking meeting with me in 2004, but I studied them. I work with them and now we're friends. Like we're peers. You know what I'm saying? But they're calling me, asking me shit. All right. But the point I'm trying to make here is that, you've got to spend your time concerned with people who are where you want to be or on the path of where you want to go.
Right.
And that's it.
Now, I wanted to add something to that because a lot of people look for, looking for love in the wrong places here. But really, if you're trying to be with someone who levels you up or does all this stuff, you have to be the person that you want to be and, fulfill all of your goals and that kind of thing in order to attract the people that also want to go above and beyond.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's
you're
no
not going to
question.
find it at a bar because if they're at a bar, they're not reaching their dreams.
There's no question. That's a whole nother fucking thing. Like, dude, I want this person, I want that person, I want this person, I want that person. Dude, you see this with girls, especially hot girls. All these fucking hot skanks on the internet showing their ass everywhere. First of all, listen, they're all trying to attract some rich dude. Let me tell you something, ladies. Rich dudes are a lot smarter than fucking you. Okay? And they didn't get rich and successful by fucking accident. And you posting ass pics and titty pics and all this shit, you might get them to spend one night with you, but you're not going to fucking hook some kind of shark like you think you are. You want to attract some fucking dude who's got his shit together? Get your own shit together.
That's a great point.
That goes for guys and girls.
Right.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Dude, it's what people fucking, girl. This is going to sound like I hate women, but this is the truth. Most girls have had dudes trying to have sex with them since they hit puberty. They're so used to it, and they think they're the only girl in the world that has a fucking vagina. You know what I mean? And they try to use that to get ahead in life. That doesn't fucking work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't fucking work.
It's only going to attract the wrong kind of
Not only
attention.
that, you're going to end up being the cat lady 40 years old because you didn't work on yourself. So, whatever.
Can we say 50 since I'm 42? 50
whatever.
years old.
They're gonna be old with a bunch of cobwebs in their vagina and a bunch of cats. That's what they're gonna be.
Yep.
That's the truth.
I can vouch for that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm a girl. I can vouch for that.
Well, I'm just saying, dude, they don't get it, and it's so many people. And if you're a successful guy or you're trying to. You go to any club on a fucking Saturday night and you'll see the shit. All right, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. You're gonna see these good-looking girls who are all slutted up with no clothes on, okay? And then you're going to see dudes dressed in fucking their whole paycheck, all right? Buying fucking bottles on their credit card, financing them through fucking American Express or whatever. And they're playing this game with each other. The dudes are trying to look rich. The girls are trying to get the dudes who aren't even fucking have their shit together. It's like this. It's like this ridiculous game that they play. It makes me fucking laugh. It's like, who's dumber?
Right.
It's like Dumb and Dumberer.
Right.
It's like watching National Geographic whenever the birds are mating. You're like, this is stupid.
And everybody thinks they're outsmarting each other. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Bro, you just fucking bought a $1,000 bottle on your fucking credit card when you don't even make
$2 bitch.
You don't even make a fucking $1,000 in a fucking week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This chick's walking around in her red bottoms that, she had to fucking go out and do who knows God what to get.
Right.
You know, it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
And the key is no amount of money will satisfy that, because I was thinking the other day, I heard the story, what was it, like do you remember hearing the story 5 or 10 years ago where the guy from West Virginia, he won the lottery and literally he literally spent the whole thing on strippers at a strip club. Like he burned through that money. I don't know how you do that. I don't know
you're
how.
stupid.
Yeah. You I don't know. Anyway.
I mean, dude, look, it's just an entertainment. Once you like, dude, take like the nightclub life and take away the lights, take away the music, and turn the lights on and look at what's going on. It's a fucking joke. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is why you don't find me in fucking nightclubs.
Right.
Or any successful dude.
Right.
You know, are you going to find Dan Bilzerian in a nightclub? Sure. But the motherfucker, the dude's inherited all his money. He's a playboy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're not going to find any real successful dude that built his shit in a fucking nightclub. I'm sorry.
Right.
He's not going to find it.
Right. Number 10, move forward. Do something and believe that you will figure it out.
This comes down to people analyzing every little thing that they're going to do without doing anything. You know, it's like study, never do anything. Mm-hmm. And that's not what entrepreneurship or being the motherfucking CEO of your life or taking responsibility for yourself or your career, whether you own a business or work within a business, that's not what's going to get you there. You don't have to know that much. You just have to be willing to go do things, because 99.99% of what you learn is going to be on the job by you messing some shit up, you know? And so many people try to become these students, and you see them on the internet all the time. Like I'll post something and then some fucking dude who's like 17, 18 years old will like, but Andy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, motherfucker, go back to your fucking crackergrams. I don't give a fuck what you say. Mm-hmm. You haven't done a goddamn thing your whole fucking life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So don't pick my shit apart because you went and read everybody's fucking programs. Come at me when you built your own shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of talkers out there, not that many fucking doers. You know what I mean? And you have to understand that doing anything is better than thinking about doing the best thing. Mm-hmm. And you have to believe that those acts and those steps forward and those progressions are going to be rewarded, and they will be rewarded, because guess what's going to happen? You're going to figure out how to get down the road. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't just go down the path and there's no obstacles. You get good and you get somewhere by approaching the obstacles, you know, overcoming them and moving forward. And it has nothing to do with your plan. You know, that's the biggest thing that we see, I think, in entrepreneurship, is that or like when we talk about being the entrepreneur of your life, is that people get way too wrapped up in the plan. They think their plan is going to be, you know, let's sit down and strategize. Let's have a meeting. Let's brainstorm. Let's think. No, you need to go out and fucking do something. Send an email, make a phone call, create a product, ship a product. You solve a problem. You know what I'm saying? Do something other than talk about doing something. Mm-hmm. You know, this whole era of entrepreneurship right now is geared around like these fucking bullshit ideas that are never going to come to fruition. You know, you see this every day. People raising 80, 90, $100 million, and then the company never get off the ground. I'm sorry, but if you can't get a company off the ground and you raise $100 million, you're a fucking retard. Period. That's it. I'm sorry if that's insensitive or whatever, but it is what it fucking is. Okay? You're retarded. All right? And that's the bottom line. This is not about thinking. It's not about strategy. It's about fucking producing products, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and then figuring it the fuck out. Right. That's what it's about. But that's too raw for people to get. It's too much what if for them to accept. Well, I can tell you right now, if you accept what I'm telling you right now, you're going to be a lot better off than, you know, Johnny fucking Entrepreneur Expert over there who studies Inc. magazine and Entrepreneur magazine and plays the fucking part.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, it goes back to people wanting a guarantee. They want to step out. They want to do something, but they use, you know, they overanalyze or they second guess or they question, but really ultimately they want a guarantee. Dude,
the only guarantee that you have is that if you do nothing, you're guaranteed to get nothing. That's it. Okay? And so many people think that, you know, oh, I've got to have this guarantee of X amount of dollars or this much for my time or this or that. That goes back to what I was saying a minute ago about you not being focused on the right shit. You're focused on what's in it for me. Okay? Well, I can tell you what's in it for you. If you don't go out, produce a product, solve a problem, create a solution, and ship a product, pack a product, help people, whatever. Okay? If you don't do that, you're going to be broke as fuck your whole life. That's the guarantee. Now, if you decide that you want to go out and do that and try things and become great at what you do, you might flounder for 10 years, but eventually guess what's going to happen? You're going to figure it out, and ultimately your value, you may not be a billionaire, you may not become Bill Gates, you may not be a millionaire, but you're going to be more fucking valuable than you were before you did that, which is going to create more income, which is going to create a better lifestyle, which is going to create a better life for you and help fulfill your obligation to humanity, to being the best that you could fucking be.
You say this all the time, and it's really true. And here's another aspect where it applies. We have so much in this modern digital age that many people in the past don't have, and this applies this whole concept of moving forward. Because if you move forward as a company, if you have your basic plan, you start your website and everything, if you realize you need to tweak, it's as easy as get on your website, change your colors, change your logo, do whatever, but just move forward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it's very,
but
very
Vaughn,
little.
Most people won't even take the first step of creating a website or creating a product, or they want to talk about this plan, you know, and they get caught up in the question that this whole podcast, this 2-part podcast about is what should I do? And instead of like, okay, today I'm going to start a business. What should I do to get money? Instead of going out and deciding, hey, I'm going to cut grass and start this pre-business to fund my business, and then at night I'm going to study my books and I'm going to read, I'm going to come up with what's going to be my future, okay? And you might go out and be so good at cutting grass that you become the fucking greatest landscaper in your area or in your... Dude, I got a buddy who makes millions of fucking dollars a year, and I'm talking millions, and Tyler, you know him too. He's from fucking Louisiana, and dude, this motherfucker, listen, this is a great story. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants it out there or not. Good friend of mine, good friend of my brother's, good friend of Tyler's. A lot of our buddies here, first former friends of them. This motherfucker started, when Hurricane Katrina came in, he started cutting the grass. Did not fucking do anything, okay? It had nothing to do with nothing. Went out, started cutting the grass at the FEMA trailers for the government. Okay, so he fucking said, I'll do this. I went out and did it. Dude, the guy didn't even own a fucking lawnmower. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to cut grass. Went out, did such a great job with the FEMA trailers. They hired him to do the some other properties. Did such a great job with those properties. Now he has every single government fucking grass in the state of Louisiana and makes millions upon millions of dollars a year doing it.
Wow.
And that was 10 years ago. And this is a dude I know personally. And he's probably the coolest fucking guy you could ever meet.
And he paid attention to details. It's like what
That's
you
right.
say. He did a really amazing job.
He didn't plan on becoming what he is. It's actually a perfect analogy for what I'm doing. He went out and said, I can make this money right now, help support my family, feed my family. He did it perfectly. It grew into this, it grew into that, and now it's a fucking gigantic company. I mean, dude, he's got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to say. Most people won't do that. They'll try to come up with this plan, and instead of saying, all right, I'm going to go cut my neighbor's grass or my neighborhood's grass, they're too proud to start at the bottom or do the work that is required, the ugly, gritty work that really nobody wants to see you doing to get the money to go start the next thing. You see what I'm saying?
I absolutely see what you're saying.
Dude, everybody wants to jump right in at like middle management or like fucking, they think business is about wearing some fucking tie and a suit, you know, and they want to play the role. Like that's what I'm talking about. They want to go to Starbucks with their fucking computer and their Starbucks and type some shit on a keyboard and be Mr. fucking business. That's not what it takes. What it takes is for you to be willing to do fucking anything to get it started. And that might not be your end goal, but you have to go out and create some fucking income so that you can invest it in this other goal. And dude, the other thing we see is a lot of people do this. They're like, oh, I'm living this lifestyle, and for me to go out and start my own thing, I'd have to take some steps back. And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you should probably fucking get rid of your 3 Series BMW, bro, and your fucking house, and you should probably go eat ramen. That's what it fucking takes. You know, people are so unwilling to take steps back. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, and I said this on the last version of this, I will go back to sleeping on a piss-stained mattress to fucking tomorrow. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I seriously wouldn't. If that's what it took for me to get to where I want to be, I would do it tomorrow. No questions asked. Not even hesitate. And that's the truth. All this other shit don't mean a thing to me. I want to fucking win. You know, and dude, you should want to win too. And if winning means you pulling back and not keeping up with the Joneses for a few years to blow them the fuck away in 10 years, that's what it fucking takes. And so many people are unwilling to even consider that thought. Well, if I sell my fucking lease 3 Series BMW, the people at church are going to think that I'm broke. Let them fucking think you're broke. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
You know?
People just like to impress people that they don't even like. It doesn't make sense.
Look, man, all the shit I have, I like because I fucking like. I don't give a fuck what somebody thinks.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But there's so many people that buy all the shit they can't afford just to show somebody something.
And how many lessons did you learn while sleeping on a piss-stained mattress that got you to
I
where
learned
you
not
are
to keep
today?
my face. I learned that I drool at night and to not drool on the fucking stain because I somehow imagined that the stain would like infuse its way in the drool and like get into my mouth. So I tried not to drool on the piss stain.
I mean, that's one
that was
really
lesson
good
number
lesson.
one.
Let me tie what you're saying into my experience actually.
You just slept on a piss stain mattress too?
No, not exactly, but with my
But does that make
experience-
sense? Like, you don't want it to, like,
absolutely.
infuse up through
You
into your
gotta be
mouth?
very careful how you position your mouth
Yes.
so as not to
Right.
take in the drool.
Yeah.
So my experience with the MFCEO project and with you. Okay, people say, I get a lot of people that say to me, man, that's a great, exciting thing to be a part of, and they're right. This is like the most exciting thing that's happened in recent memory for me.
Damn right it is.
Yes, it is. It really is. And I mean, all kidding aside, it is. But 4 years
It's more
ago,
exciting than 200 milligrams Viagra, isn't it, Vaughn?
you got. Well,
I almost got him. I almost got him.
I don't
He
need
agreed.
that.
I almost got him.
Well, you know,
but
there's...
listen, 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, I literally, I for various reasons, I literally had to press the replay button on my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I stopped being a pastor. I moved from a place that I loved. It was a supportive community to a brand new, St. Louis. My wife, I'm newly married, don't have kids. Well, expecting the first one. And the very first thing that I have to do is I basically have to start over. Like, I have a whole resume that's literally designed for a completely different career. So literally, I went through, creating my first LLC, which is a crazy idea called Frisella that I won't even get into, that crashed and burned. And then I ended up being, an editor for a startup and didn't make any money off of that. Then I ended up creating an LLC for writing, and you and I met, and just bam, boom. The next thing over the next 4 years, we'll get to this place. And what I always tell people is you've got to, not only do you have to move, but you have to embrace the messiness of the evolution of your own life, because you're just not, it's not going to happen cleanly and perfectly. You have to be okay with the fact that there's going to be chaos, but it's kind of an ordered chaos.
Here's the thing, though.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm going to add to that, because here's what happens, and what people are so afraid to, like, make a mistake because they don't want to be embarrassed, right? They don't want to be embarrassed. Well, what's worse? Being embarrassed or being broke your whole entire life and living the same life that everybody else in your whole entire existence lives? What's worse? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would rather be embarrassed 24 hours a day, and I've been embarrassed a trillion fucking times, okay? Dude, you know how many people came to me when I was about 25 years old? I had friends that had graduated college, went off to get real jobs. Their real jobs, quote, I'm holding quotes up, real jobs, right? And they would come to me and they would say things, literally say things to me like, dude, when are you and Chris going to, like, fucking grow up and get real jobs? Or they would come and be like, they would come and they'd be driving their new fucking Denali, right? Mm-hmm. They're making $70,000 a year, and they're coming to me saying, "Oh, blah blah blah. We got a new Denali. We get on these trips, blah blah blah." Dude, I'm fucking making $695 a month.
Right.
I'm looking at it like, man, maybe I should go fucking do that. Maybe I should go get a real job. And the funny thing is, those same motherfuckers are now still making the same amount of money. Mm-hmm. They're driving the same fucking car they financed 10 fucking years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're asking me for a fucking job. Okay? So I know what it's like to feel embarrassed because that was a regular thing for about 7 or 8 years of my life. When are you going to grow up? When are you going to get a real job? Do you still have that little vitamin shop? Blah, 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 blah. Dude, I still get people that aren't on social media, that don't know shit about what we're doing, that still say things like, hey, man, you still selling fucking vitamins? I'm like, yeah, bro, we're selling some fucking vitamins. You know what I mean?
A lot of fucking vitamins.
Yeah, right. and the thing is like, you know, I'm not going to lie. It feels good to shove it right down their fucking throat. And anybody who says it, they say, oh, Andy, well, you should just be the bigger man. No, motherfucker, they deserve it.
Right.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna rub it in a little bit.
And it feels fucking good. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are listening to this and you have people, you know, you're trying to build your dream or you're trying to do something, as long as you're doing something, like legitimately doing something, all right? If you don't have a plan, go out and do something you know how to do. Sell lemonade, sell snow cones, sell fucking, cut grass. The things I'm talking about that really anybody can do and figure out how to do until you figure it out, because at least you're doing something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And
so, sitting in your fucking basement reading books of business, that's good. But if you're not doing anything in conjunction with that, that's bad.
Right.
Okay. Let's say you have a job. You know, there's a lot of guys in my company that are entry-level employees. Dude, I tell them, all right, look, you're trying to build a career here. All right. You want to work, you want to do something besides, okay, make sure you're reading at night, make sure you're learning from every experience that you have, and make sure you're doing the best job that you can be doing. So if you have a job somewhere else, and let's say it's cooking French fries or whatever, make sure that the French fries you're cooking are the best fucking French fries on earth. Mm-hmm. Because what you're doing is you're cultivating habits and habits to attention to detail that develop valuable skills for you wherever the fuck you go from here. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Most people discount every little detail of their life until they think this opportunity is going to happen and they think they're going to switch on all these qualities that you need to be cultivating at this point in your life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you are going to go out and do the grass cutting like I talk about, make sure you're doing a great job. Put fucking good lines in the grass. Learn how to make the yard look so good that people come out and they say, whoa, dude, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's when, and let's say you're not going to cut grass for your whole life. You're still developing the skill of going the extra mile and creating wow factor. And if you develop that as a habit, you're going to be very successful because most people never, ever develop those things. Right. And that's where the value comes from. It comes from you developing habits out of every situation.
Absolutely.
Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I would say is that as you're in the process of figuring out what you're going to do, there are going to be the haters who just say, well, wait, 6 months ago, weren't you doing this? And now you're doing this. And you say, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what works for me.
Yeah.
And hopefully people aren't bouncing around because they just don't want to do anything that's hard and they don't have any follow through. But there will be a point in your life where literally every 3 or 4 months, you might be doing something different. But as long as you're moving forward and you're figuring it out, just don't let the people who are saying,
dude, you have to remember,
you're doing all these different things.
Vaughn, you have to remember.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. You have to remember, people are not, our system in the United States does not cultivate the principles that we're talking about. They are not encouraging of the idea of being responsible for yourself or being the motherfucking CEO of you and going at life with swagger and with fucking confidence and an attitude. They don't want that. You know why? Because the government and most businesses, the reason that people go to college isn't to learn, it's to certify that you can follow fucking directions. Okay? Your little fucking degree that says, oh, unless you're a fucking brain surgeon or some kind of specialized, your fucking liberal arts degree doesn't mean a goddamn thing. I'm sorry. Your fucking business degree in marketing doesn't mean a fucking thing. You know what it means? It means you went to class, you passed the courses, you passed the tests, and you could follow directions. And that's why companies use this piece of paper as the entry point of certification to come work for you. All right, this guy got his 4-year degree, so he can obviously follow directions. We could put him in this role. Our society is in the business of creating cogs. Our society is in the business of creating worker bees. It's not in the business of waking people the fuck up and showing people what's possible with a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of hard work, and a little bit of sweat and blood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they sell people on the idea of, hey, do a good job, man, and one day you'll make $65,000. That's pretty good fucking living.
Right.
Ask anybody who makes $65,000 a year if they feel like it's a good living. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
it just doesn't feel like it. I've made that much money. I know what it feels like, you know, and people are cultivated to think this their whole life. So whenever you run up against the average person and you're trying to do your own thing and you're taking steps back in your life to take 10 giant steps forward later, guess what? They're going to think you're fucking crazy because they've already bought into this whole other mentality 100%. They've made every decision that their life is about based upon what I just said. And they've lived their, you know, go to school, go to college, get married, have 5 kids, and then get chained into some fucking debt and have to go to work every single day and be a slave of society. That's what fucking society is. Okay? And you listening right now, the last 3 minutes or 2 minutes of what I'm talking about is the most valuable thing you'll ever get out of this fucking podcast. Now, I'm not saying you have to go fucking work and own your own company, but I'm saying you at least need to have the awareness to work for a company where you have upward mobility, the ability to produce and be a part of something and make a career for yourself, okay? And you do that by the things that we talked about this whole 2-part podcast. People are going to always think you're fucking crazy, all right? And if they've lived that life, if they're the person who lives by the list, what I just said, they've already made those decisions. So you have to understand, for them to think you're not crazy would mean for them to go back and have to admit that their decisions were wrong, which nobody fucking is good at. It takes a big man to admit they made some wrong decisions in life. I've made lots of them. But you get what I'm saying? Nobody's going to go back and say, oh, well, I wish I wouldn't have got married at 24, and I wish I wouldn't have had those 2 kids. And I wish nobody's going to admit that shit. But yet, all you hear them do is complain about their wife, complain about how fucking hard it is to be a parent and how much money they don't have. But they made all the right decisions.
Right.
Which one is it? You see what I'm saying?
Right. There has to be humility in order to grow.
So, dude, you know, admitting that you would have done things different is a good starting spot to making things different down the road. You know, and a lot of people are going to hear this, especially that has family, and they're going to be like, you don't know what it's like to have a family. You motherfucker, that's because I thought ahead, because I didn't want a fucking family yet.
Right.
And you know, for any other reason.
Right.
I plan my shit.
Right.
You know?
No, I mean, I just to tack on to what you're saying, and I completely agree. I mean, I'm someone who I went to a very a very expensive private liberal arts college. I had a great experience. I have 2 master's degree. I believe in education.
In liberal arts?
No, I went to a liberal arts degree.
So when I said that about the degree,
no. But my point is that I don't. No, my degree is in speech communications, and then my master's I have one in writing and one in theology because of course I was a pastor.
Well, that's here's an example though, Lamont. You're using the skills of your degree,
right?
But I'm not requiring them from you,
right.
You forged your own path to use those skills,
right? And the reason, what I want to say in support of what you're saying is that those degrees, they helped me gain knowledge, but at the end of the day, really, the truth is I probably could have self-directed because I'm the kind of person that I can self-teach. And if you're looking at college degrees or formal education as a validation that it's going to just automatically translate into success, you're completely screwed in the head.
Not only that, statistics show otherwise.
Right.
Scientific statistics will show you that that's not the truth.
Right.
And being a college student, how many times do you just memorize what's on the test and then forget it 2 weeks later?
Yeah, because
you're not actually retaining.
It's not about learning. It's about following directions.
And it's cramming information. It's just you don't take it
in.
Dude,
it's not about learning. It's about how can you follow directions. And if you could follow directions, I could teach you how to work within this fucking system. That's all it's about.
Right.
Unless you're a doctor or, you know, a surgeon, or you're talking about guys who are specialized, you know, lawyers, things like that. But like you're talking about like people who just go to get a 4-year degree, so they say they have a degree.
Right.
It's worthless.
Well, I would say the vast majority of people, what you're saying, the vast majority of people who go to college do so because they think that's
what you're supposed
to do, regardless of the debt that they're going to come out with.
Right. And we're getting ahead of ourselves on something. But the point is that, you know, whether you have already gone down this road or not and you want to change it, don't fucking overanalyze it. Go out, take some steps back, humble yourselves, and fucking start from there.
Right.
And do something.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so final point, which is just when you're doing all this, have the right expectations about life.
Dude, this is a great point to hammer home at the end. All right? Life is fucking hard. Okay? Life is going to punch you in the face. Life is going to kick you in the nuts. It's going to sodomize you. It's going to rape you. It's going to kick you in the face till you fucking can't breathe. It's going to beat the living shit out of you. That's what life's going to do to you. Okay? Being successful And by the way, that kind of struggle doesn't mean you're on the wrong fucking path. You know, not loving every minute of your life doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Everybody, you know, we're all called to struggle and overcome and achieve things in our lives. And just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It probably means that you're on the right fucking path. Because there's two different kinds of struggle, right? There's the passive struggle. The passive struggle is, I, you know, took what life gave me. Life's not giving me enough and I'm struggling with it. That's the wrong kind of struggle, all right? I took the easy route. Now I'm struggling. Wrong kind of struggle. The right kind of struggle is I'm hustling. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying very hard to improve myself, improve my skills. I'm making active dedication to that lifestyle and I'm struggling. That's the right kind of struggle. And everybody who's been successful goes through that. It's brutal. It's mean. It's tough. It's unpleasant. It sucks. I don't know how else to say it. It's just not a fucking fun thing. But how many things are worthwhile in your life are worth anything that didn't require some sort of price to be paid? It's just a law of the universe, okay? You can't be successful. You can't be a champion, whether it's sports, business, whatever it is, without going through that process of struggling. And so many people want to skip that process. So they try to make these shortcuts. They try to make these workarounds to the struggle. And those are the people that never get anywhere because they're not willing just to go in a fucking battle, take your lumps, get your ass kicked, build character, build intelligence, have experience, and move forward. You guys have to understand that's where the fucking skills come from. The skills come from that time. You know, my first 10, 12 years in business, it was brutal, dude. Brutal. Like brutal, like so brutal. I don't even know, I don't even think I could do it again. I really don't. It was fucking brutal. And, you know, people just aren't willing to go through that, man. They think that because things are hard that they're doing something wrong. You know, success isn't about instant gratification. It's not about easy. And that's what I try to tell. You know, a lot of people give me shit because everything I'm trying to say is always worked around the struggle or the hard work. You know why? Because the success industry tells everybody and sells everybody on the idea that you could skip that. And you just fucking can't. It's just not possible. All right? All these guys who claim, oh, I got rich in 1 year, buy my program, do this, and it's easy ways to success, blah, blah, blah. Dude, they're selling you on the idea that you're trying to skip like 99.99% of the other people in this world trying to skip the fucking work. You can't skip the work. It's just not, there's just no way. It just doesn't work like that. You don't get the cake without mixing the ingredients. You don't get the cake without fucking putting it in the oven. You know, and it's sad. Dude, it frustrates me. You and I have talked about this a million times, how frustrating it is to be even in this industry of success, motivation, business, entrepreneurship, when 98% of the other people doing it are just selling people on this fucking dream that doesn't exist. Right. You know?
And what you're saying is not just your opinion. There is actually quite a few social psychological studies that show that there's a relationship between the ease of acquisition of like a particular talent or something and the longevity and development of that talent. In other words, if you pick up, let's say you pick up pitching a softball and it's super easy to you, right from the get-go, there's evidence that you're not going to develop and persevere over the long term as much as the guy who picks it up and struggles a little bit, has to put in the time, and then
let's use a real world example
that
we're all familiar with. How about the cool guy in high school or the cool girl in high school?
Yeah.
All right. The people who peak in high school and think they got the whole world by the balls. Every person that was cool in high school that I know is a fucking loser now. Every girl that was hot in high school is fucking disgusting now. You know why? Because that girl didn't have to develop the habits of eating right, working out, taking care of herself because she was young enough to just be cute and be pretty when she was 18 with no fucking work. But where are the girls that were average then that had to work to be hot? Mm-hmm. They're still fucking hot. Mm-hmm. They're the hottest ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're going to continue to be the hottest ones because they're working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
And it's the same thing with guys. The guys who had to struggle to like fit in and be this and that, you know what they learn? They learn how to fucking sell themselves. Okay? And when you learn how to sell yourselves and you become great at selling yourself, guess what? You fucking sell anything, which is a very valuable skill. You know, so there's so many real world examples of what you just said, but you know, at the end of the day, man, life is fucking hard. It's going to punch you in the fucking face. It's going to beat the shit out of you, you know, in every way possible. And it's going to feel like everything's stacked against you. It's going to feel like God hates you. It's going to feel like the universe hates you. But that still doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. You know, if you're actively trying to improve, if you're actively doing things to improve, if you're taking real action towards a better life, that's just part of the process. Now, if you feel that way and you're going home and sitting on a fucking bar stool at 4 o'clock every day, drinking beer and bitching, well, guess what? That's the wrong kind of struggle, and you're going to continue to struggle. But there's two kinds of struggle. You follow what I'm saying? There's the right kind and the wrong kind. And the right kind is going to mold you. It's going to create you. It's going to give you the lessons. It's going to give you the skills. It's going to give you the ability to persevere. You know, iron sharpens iron type of thing. And the wrong kind of struggle is going to ruin you. It's going to take you down the hole to 100 pounds overweight, alcoholic, average life, broke, and, you know, thinking that the world fucked you over. So you have to be able to be aware enough to identify those two kinds of struggle. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. You're struggling. I'm struggling. Tyler's struggling. Everybody's fucking struggling. We're just all struggling in different ways. So which way do you want to struggle? My struggle has never, ever been the wrong kind of struggle. It just never has been. I'm struggling with the right kind of shit every day, and that's a fucking good thing. You know what I mean? So understanding the difference between the two is a big part of getting ahead, because everybody's struggling. And like, just because you may be looking at me and seeing my life and think, oh, I'm not struggling, motherfucker, you don't know my goals. You don't know what I'm trying to do. You don't know what my end game is, and you don't know what I'm trying to build. You know, you look at me and say, oh, he's driving a fucking Lamborghini, he's driving a Rolls, he's living in this kind of house, blah, 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 traveling all over. He doesn't seem like he's struggling. Well, maybe where I'm at is your end goal, but it's not fucking mine. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you don't ever know what somebody's struggle is. And you have to make sure that your struggle is going to be the right kind. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah, guys, 3 things. 1, as I told you before, we have some exciting things coming up. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's really important, and we will not take advantage of this. It's really important that you go to the website, you sign up to get notifications from our podcast, because we've got some really cool projects coming up. We want everybody to know about it. So basically, just go to the landing page, the main page. You'll see on the right-hand side, it'll be sign up for podcast notifications. Put your email in. We will not take advantage of it. Heck, we don't even necessarily send out an email for every single one of our episodes. So we're not going to...
Well, whose fault is that, Vaughn?
Yeah, I know, but... That's by design. So secondly,
Sure it is.
No, it is.
Listen to this guy.
Hey, listen, I didn't get where I am on accident. Secondly, check out our episode website page. I can't talk right now, but it's themfceo.com/P76 will be this episode. We'll have some show notes up soon. Also, usually if Andy mentions a book like he did last time, we put a link to whatever book he mentioned and any other resources that we think could help you out. And then finally, just, you know, a lot of you guys have reached out, connect on social media. If you're new to the podcast, Andy's social media contacts are at Andy Frisella, AndyFrisella. Tyler is at Tyler, MIA_TYLER, and I'm at Vaughn Kohler, VAUGHNKOHLER, and you can Google Kelsey's, whichever Kelsey.
Google?
I don't know. Maybe don't Google Kelsey.
Yeah, don't.
She's our intern.
Yeah.
Google her and then hit images. I'm just saying.
You're not going to find anything interesting.
All right, look, guys. I just want to close out real quick with asking something of you. You know, we've given a lot of information, a lot of valuable information for free. I would ask that you would please leave us a review on whatever platform that you're listening on, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, whatever. And if you would please also, dude, if you're getting value out of this podcast, if you're getting value out of this information, introduce a friend to it. All right, that's all we ask. We're working to grow. We're working to make a difference. We're working to change some fundamental fuck ups in society by giving this information away for free, and the only way that we could spread it is by your word of mouth. So guys, if you like what we're doing, if you're a fan of what we do, I would really appreciate a share. Love you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. Okay. They can. What's up? Shut up.